All right, guys. So today we're going to start working on our yarn plaques, and I'm going to go over the first couple of steps you need to do in order to get these started. So we have all the things you need set up today on the back table. So when you're looking for something that you need today, go look back there and you will find it. There are some supplies that are low in number, so if we need to wait for someone to finish, just be patient. You guys share when you're done with the tool. Go put it back so people know that you're done with it and they can go grab whatever they need. So on the back table, there's a box of scissors. There's a box of compasses and protractors. You have your tissue paper. There's glue cups, glue brushes. So that's the stuff that we're gonna use today. So the first thing I wanted to go over, there's a couple of tools and maybe some of us don't know how to use these. The first one is being a safety compass. This safety compass, very easy to use. I like them because it doesn't have the sharp point like the old school compasses. Two parts, clear part and the orange part. So it has all these circles here. These, for small size circles, you would use as a stencil. And then each one of these dots, starting here and then going all the way out here, are a different size circle. So the way to use this, let's say you want to draw a circle, you kind of find your center. Oh, it's going to be my center point. First thing you want to do is mark the center. Let me zoom in a little bit. Mark the center. And then once you have the center marked, you're going to put the little gold brass ring on the center. And then, like I said, each one of these dots is a different size circle. So if I wanted a small circle, I would hold the orange side and just give the clear part a spin. That would give me a circle. You want a bigger size circle. So if you want a bigger size circle with one of these dots that's on the orange thing, then you would hold down the clear part and you would spin the orange part. Now, you do have to kind of work around with your hand. So for that reason is how come you want to mark the center. Because if you are drawing a circle, and let's say for some reason, you're kind of doing this, and the pencil moves or your compass moves, then you can easily find the center again and pick up where you left off. Because if you don't have it marked, then it's going to be very hard to find that center again. All right, the next thing we have is a protractor. Protractors are great. If you want to circle this side first, this can be used as a stencil, just for a circle, right? If there's a design that you want to split up into certain number of spaces, then you can use this protractor to mark the angles. For example, a circle has 360 degrees. Let's say you want to split this up into 6 sections. So if you divide this by 6, 360 divided by 6, 6 times 6 is 36. That would give me 60 degrees. Oh, I did the math right there, 60 degrees. So then what I could do is I can put my protractor on here, and here's a 0 here. I can mark that, then count 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then give myself a mark at every 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and so on and so forth, right? And once I have those marks, and right here, let me finish. 0, 0 there, 60, and 60. Then I can take a ruler and connect this line to the one opposite, and opposite, and divide that perfectly into 6 sections, right? So that's a compass and protractor. All right, I wanted to show you how to use those tools because for this project, a lot of people, we use those tools. So now we can go into the actual making of the yarn plaque. So I have a stack of cardboard. Like I said, the minimum size of these was 9 inches. So most of these are 9 inches or a little bit bigger. So what you want to do is you want to go grab a piece, and once you have your piece, you want to start off with the main outside shape of whatever design you have. So for example, and let me grab a ruler real quick. So let's say I want to make this into a circle. So what I would do is, if this was my project, I would kind of try to find the center, and I would just do that by kind of drawing an X here. That would be my center. And I would take my compass. Now I know where my center's at. I can maybe try to make this circle as big as I can to fit on my cardboard. And this would be the shape I'm gonna start with. Now, once you have it drawn out, now if you're gonna draw something that's more complicated, you know, you do whatever you need to do. If you're gonna do a square or a rectangle, you know, I did hand cut these. So some of the lines, like, I don't know if you can tell, but this one right here is a little bit crooked. You know, it's not perfectly straight. Straight, 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 but this one is a little bit crooked. So if we need to, I do have a paper cutter, and we can use it to measure and to cut this into a perfect square. But if you guys are gonna hand draw, use some sort of drawing tool to draw your shape, do that, and then we can cut it out. Now this cardboard is actually pretty thin. So it's not very difficult to cut out. You can use some scissors, especially for the simple shapes. You know, a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of wrist power, and you can cut out your shape. All right, now, if you guys for some reason have a super complicated design, another option I have, and you know, if you ask for one of these razors and I don't think you need it, I'm not gonna give it to you. But if you have a super complicated design and a razor might be easier to use, then I do have a couple of these box cutting razors to use. Now the only thing is, we need to make sure that we use a piece of scrap cardboard under it so it doesn't cut through all the way to the table. So if you were gonna use a razor, you would have a piece of scrap, and then whatever you're gonna cut on top of it, and I'm just gonna cut a square out of this. And then if you had something that was like on the inside, you know, that is hard to get to with scissors, then maybe using the razor might make it much easier. So, like I said, we just need to make sure that we are using the cardboard under, the scrap, and with these little knives, you have it coming out, and then if you pull the little tab back, it'll lock it in place. All right, and the other thing is, you wanna cut through this a little at a time. You let the tool do the work. Don't push and like try to saw. No, you're just kind of pushing a little bit and gliding. Usually it takes maybe like 2 or 3 passes for it to cut all the way through. And then once I have it, you can just pop out that shape and that's it, right? So, what's the next step? You cut out your shape. So what I'm gonna do next, before I forget, I'm gonna turn this around on the back side, and I'm gonna use a marker to put my name. I'll put up all these tools that I don't need anymore. And then, next thing you need to do is you need to go to the back table. You need to get a piece of tissue paper, whatever color you want. You need to get a cup of glue, and there's about 15 cups of glue. So if your neighbor already has a cup, please share with them. And you need a brush. So the brushes that we're using are specifically used for glue, and they are in the yellow witch cup. So grab one of those, and don't grab anything off the counter because those are painting brushes. So we want to make sure that we're using the glue brushes. So main objective with the tissue is you want to cover the front and you want to cover the side where this corrugation goes. So that means you're going to have pieces on the front, they're going to be folded over and a little bit towards the back. So what I would recommend doing is working in smaller sections, small pieces, because it makes it much easier. If you try to work with pieces that are too big, then that's when things get complicated. All right, so the next thing I can tell you to make this a little bit easier is you don't need a whole bunch of glue, you just need a little bit. If you use too much glue, then your cardboard is gonna start folding because of the moisture and, you know, looking all out of whack, like bending and stuff. So just with minimal amount of glue, you kind of want to work the front and then roll over the tissue to cover that corrugation. If you can cover the front and cover this corrugation, great. Now some of you might notice that, well, you say, I can still see my cardboard. You know, the main thing with this tissue is you're gonna cover the front of your yarn plaque with the yarn. So the main thing is, if there's like open see-through sections on your yarn, you don't want to be able to see the brown cardboard. And especially, like, a lot of people hang these up on the wall, you don't want to see this corrugation. You want it to be nice and covered. So it doesn't matter, it's not as important if it's not 100% covered, but just in case there are some open sections, you want to make sure it's covered so it looks nice and presentable. All right, so this is going to be your job today. I mean, plan out your design, go get your cardboard, in pencil lightly draw the outline of your shape, and then you can start covering with tissue. All right, now at the end of class, what we'll do, there are some hanging lines in the back of the room. I will hang these up. The other thing I can tell you is a lot of people work on these and they set them on the table. Listen, you're gonna have to hold this while you work on it, because if you set it down, all this wet glue is gonna get stuck to the table. So keep that in mind when you're picking it up. Other than that, I think most of us, that's what we're gonna get through today. If you want to be at a good spot at the end of class, I would say at least have my shape drawn, my shape cut out, and some of the tissue. Maybe just a little section, and then next class when we come in, we'll finish all the tissue paper on your cardboard. All right, if you have any questions, think about it. I'm about to stop the video and I'll ask for questions.